I, 26F, have always had a complicated relationship with my younger sister, Emma, 22F. Growing up, our parents always favored Emma. She was the smart one, the pretty one, the talented one. I was just there. From the moment Emma was born, it was like she became the center of our family's universe. I was only 4 at the time, but I remember feeling pushed aside. My parents would spend hours cooing over Emma, while I was often left to entertain myself. As we grew older, the disparity in their treatment of us only became more apparent. Emma seemed to excel at everything she touched. She started reading at an early age and was quickly labeled as gifted. Our parents enrolled her in all sorts of enrichment programs: music lessons, advanced math classes, language immersion camps. Meanwhile, I struggled with dyslexia, which wasn't diagnosed until I was in middle school. Instead of getting me the help I needed, my parents just told me I needed to try harder. School was always a source of tension in our household. Emma got straight A's without seeming to break a sweat. She won science fairs, was captain of the debate team, and was even class president in her senior year. I, on the other hand, barely scraped by. Math was a constant struggle, and I often stayed up late trying to finish assignments that Emma could breeze through in an hour. Our parents' reactions to our report cards were like night and day. When Emma brought home her perfect grades, there would be celebrations: dinner at her favorite restaurant, new clothes, or tickets to a show she wanted to see. My report cards were met with disappointment and lectures about applying myself more. It wasn't just academics where the favoritism showed. Emma was a talented pianist and often performed in recitals. Our parents never missed a single one, always sitting in the front row with cameras ready. But when I had my art show in high school, the one thing I was actually good at, they skipped it because it conflicted with one of Emma's piano lessons. As we got older, the comparisons became more blatant. "Why can't you be more like Emma?" became a common refrain in our household. When Emma was accepted to an Ivy League college on a full scholarship, our parents threw her a huge party. They invited all our relatives and friends. Everyone kept gushing about how proud they were of Emma. Nobody even asked me what I was doing with my life. I felt invisible. I had applied to a few state schools but hadn't heard back yet. When I finally got an acceptance letter from a decent university, my parents' reaction was lukewarm at best. They made some comments about how at least I was going to college, but it was clear they were disappointed I hadn't achieved Emma's level of success. It was around this time that I met Jake, 28M. We were both working part-time at a local coffee shop. Jake was the first person who really saw me and appreciated me for who I was. He didn't compare me to anyone else or make me feel inadequate. With him, I could just be myself. Jake and I started dating, and for the first time in my life, I felt truly happy. He encouraged me to pursue my passion for art, something my parents had always dismissed as a hobby. With his support, I decided to major in graphic design at college. Our relationship progressed quickly. We moved in together after a year of dating, much to my parents' disapproval. They thought I was rushing things and kept pointing out how Emma was focusing on her studies instead of boys. But Jake and I knew what we wanted. We got married last year in a small ceremony. My parents and Emma barely acknowledged it, too busy preparing for Emma's upcoming graduation. For the past few months, Jake and I had been trying to get pregnant. We were overjoyed when we found out I was expecting. It felt like finally something good was happening in my life. Jake was ecstatic and immediately started making plans for the nursery. For once, I felt like I had something to be proud of, something that was just mine and not overshadowed by Emma's achievements. Last weekend was Emma's college graduation. As expected, our parents threw her another big party. They rented out a fancy restaurant and invited what seemed like half the town. All the focus was on Emma and her accomplishments. People kept asking her about her plans for grad school and her internship at a prestigious company. I sat in the corner, feeling ignored as usual. When it was time for toasts, I suddenly felt overcome with anger and resentment. All these years of being second best, of feeling invisible in my own family, came rushing to the surface. As soon as Emma finished her speech about her bright future and how grateful she was for our parents' support, I stood up. Without really thinking it through, I announced that Jake and I were expecting a baby. The room went silent. Then everyone started congratulating us. For once, people were paying attention to me instead of Emma. Relatives were hugging me and asking about due dates and nursery themes. It felt amazing to finally be the center of attention. But the feeling was short-lived. Emma looked furious. Her face turned red and she stormed out of the party. My parents followed her, completely ignoring me. They didn't even stop to acknowledge my news. Later that night, they called to berate me. They said I was selfish and immature for stealing Emma's thunder and ruining her special day. My mom went on a long rant about how I've always been jealous of Emma and how I need to grow up. My dad said he was disappointed in me and that I should have known better. I tried to defend myself, to explain how I've always felt sidelined and just wanted to share my happiness. But they wouldn't listen. They demanded that I apologize to Emma immediately. When I refused, they hung up on me. Jake thinks I did nothing wrong. He says Emma and my parents have been mistreating me for years, and I deserve to have my moment too. He pointed out how they've never celebrated any of my achievements. So why should I have to tiptoe around Emma's? But now my whole family is mad at me. Emma isn't speaking to me at all. My parents keep sending angry texts. Even some of my extended family members have reached out to say I acted inappropriately. I'm starting to doubt myself. Was I really the asshole for announcing my pregnancy at Emma's graduation party? Should I have just stayed quiet and let Emma have her moment like I've always done? Or was I right to finally stand up for myself and claim some attention? Tia for announcing my pregnancy at my sister's graduation party? Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since the graduation party incident, and things have only gotten worse with my family. The constant stress and tension are starting to affect my health, which worries Jake. Emma hasn't spoken to me at all since the party. She's blocked me on all social media platforms and even changed her phone number. I found this out when I tried to reach out to her to explain my side of things. It hurt more than I expected, realizing that my own sister had cut me off so completely. My parents, on the other hand, won't stop calling. But it's not to check on me or the baby. Every conversation turns into a lecture about how I've ruined Emma's moment and how I need to make amends. They're demanding that I apologize to Emma, but when I try to explain my side, they shut me down and say I'm being dramatic. Yesterday, my mom called with some news that made my blood boil. Apparently, Emma is planning a do-over graduation party next month. My parents are fully supporting this idea and helping her organize it. They said I'm not invited unless I apologize to Emma and promise not to make the event about me. This was the last straw. I finally snapped and told my mom that I was done being the family scapegoat. I said that they've always favored Emma and made me feel worthless. I brought up specific incidents from our childhood, like the time they forgot my 16th birthday because they were busy preparing for Emma's piano recital. Or how they paid for Emma's summer programs abroad but told me to get a job when I wanted to attend a local art camp. I reminded her about the time I won a regional art competition in high school. Instead of coming to the award ceremony, they attended one of Emma's debate tournaments. I had to get a ride from a friend's parent and sat alone while other kids celebrated with their families. I also brought up how they barely acknowledged my college graduation. They showed up late to the ceremony and left early, citing that they had to prepare for Emma's summer internship. They didn't even take any photos of me in my cap and gown. My mom got defensive and said I was exaggerating. She claimed they've always treated us equally and that I was just jealous of Emma's success. When I pressed her for examples of how they've supported me, she couldn't give any concrete ones. She just kept repeating that I needed to apologize to Emma and stop causing drama. I told her that I had nothing to apologize for. Emma has had countless celebrations and moments in the spotlight. This was the one time I had some good news to share, and they couldn't even be happy for me. I said that until they acknowledge how unfairly they've treated me all these years, I don't want to hear from them. My mom started crying and saying I was tearing the family apart. She tried to guilt-trip me by saying the stress wasn't good for the baby. She even suggested that maybe I wasn't ready to be a mother if I was still holding on to childhood grudges. That comment hurt more than anything else she'd said. I hung up on her after that. I was shaking with anger and hurt. Jake found me crying in our bedroom and held me for a long time. He reassured me that I did the right thing by standing up for myself. He pointed out how my parents have never taken responsibility for their actions and how they always twist things to make me the bad guy. Jake suggested that we start setting boundaries with my family. He thinks we should limit contact with them, at least until after the baby is born. Part of me agrees with him, but another part feels guilty. Despite everything, they're still my parents, and Emma is my only sibling. The thought of cutting them out of my life and my child's life is daunting. But then I think about all the years of feeling inadequate, of having my achievements dismissed, of being compared unfavorably to Emma. I think about how they've never really celebrated anything in my life. Not my art, not my marriage, and now not even my pregnancy. And I wonder if having them in my life is worth the constant pain and self-doubt they bring. Jake has been incredibly supportive through all this. He says I did the right thing by standing up for myself and that I shouldn't let them manipulate me anymore. But I can't help feeling conflicted. Am I really the one destroying our family? Should I just apologize to keep the peace? Or do I stand my ground and risk losing my family altogether? I'm trying to focus on my pregnancy and stay positive for the baby's sake. Jake and I have started attending birthing classes and shopping for nursery furniture. These moments of normalcy and excitement help balance out the stress from my family situation. But every time my phone rings or I see a new email notification, I feel a sense of dread. I'm torn between wanting to fix things with my family and wanting to protect myself from further hurt. I don't know what the right answer is, but I know something needs to change. I can't keep living like this, constantly feeling like I'm not good enough. Update 2. It's been a month since my last update, and the situation with my family has taken some unexpected turns. Emma had her do-over graduation party last weekend. As expected, I wasn't invited, but I found out from my cousin Sarah that Emma used the party to announce her engagement. She's apparently been dating a guy from college for the past year and kept it secret from everyone. Sarah told me that Emma made a big speech about how she wanted to share her happy news with people who truly support her, unlike some family members who only think about themselves. It was clearly a dig at me, and it hurt to hear that Emma was still so angry. I was furious when I heard this. It felt like Emma was deliberately trying to one-up my pregnancy announcement. When I vented to Jake about it, he suggested we have our own celebration to announce the gender of our baby. At first, I was hesitant. I didn't want to escalate things further with my family. But then I thought about how Emma and my parents have never considered my feelings. So we decided to go ahead with it. We invited all our friends and my extended family. I made sure to invite the relatives who attended Emma's party, including Sarah. To my surprise, many of them showed up, including my grandparents. I hadn't expected them to come, given how close they are to my parents. During the party, my grandmother pulled me aside. She said she and my grandfather have noticed how my parents treat me differently from Emma. They apologized for not saying anything sooner. My grandmother shared that she had a similar experience with her own sister growing up, and she regretted staying silent about the favoritism in our family. It felt so validating to finally have someone in the family acknowledge the unfair treatment. The gender reveal went great. We're having a boy. Everyone was genuinely happy for us. Jake's parents had flown in for the occasion, and seeing their excitement made me realize what supportive parents should look like. For once, I felt celebrated and supported by family members. Of course, my parents and Emma didn't attend, but Sarah told me later that my mom has been complaining to everyone about how I'm trying to overshadow Emma's engagement. Apparently, Emma is upset that I stole her thunder again, even though she knew about our gender reveal party before she planned her engagement announcement. I'm beyond caring at this point. I'm done trying to tiptoe around their feelings when they've never considered mine. I'm focusing on preparing for my baby and surrounding myself with people who actually care about me. Jake and I have started attending parenting classes together. We're learning about childbirth, breastfeeding, and newborn care. It's scary but exciting to think about becoming parents. Jake has been reading parenting books and even started a dad blog to document our journey. His enthusiasm and support mean everything to me. We've also been working on the nursery. We chose a space theme, with dark blue walls and glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. Jake's been putting together furniture, and I've been working on a mural of the solar system. It's been a fun project to focus on instead of the drama with my family. My grandparents have been checking in regularly since the gender reveal party. They've offered to help with the baby when he arrives, which means more to me than I can express. It's nice to finally feel like I have family members on my side. As my due date gets closer, I find myself thinking about what kind of parents Jake and I will be. I'm determined not to repeat the mistakes my parents made. Our son will know he's loved unconditionally, not just for his achievements. We'll celebrate all his milestones, big and small. And if we have more children in the future, we'll make sure to treat them equally. I still have moments of sadness about the rift with my parents and Emma. There are times when I wish I could share my pregnancy experiences with my mom or sister. But then, I remember all the hurt they've caused me over the years, and I know I'm better off without their negativity in my life. Update 3. It's been 2 months since my last update. I'm now 6 months pregnant and showing quite a bit. The baby is healthy and active, which is a relief given all the stress I've been under. Last week, I ran into Emma at the grocery store. It was the first time I'd seen her since the graduation party. She was with her fiancé, who I'd never met before. I decided to be the bigger person and approached them to say hello. I tried to be civil and congratulated her on her engagement. Emma just glared at me and said, "At least I didn't have to hijack someone else's celebration to announce it." Her fiancé looked uncomfortable but didn't say anything. I lost my temper and told her she's had plenty of celebrations all her life while I was always pushed aside. I said I was done feeling guilty for wanting some attention for once. Emma started yelling about how selfish I was and how I'd always been jealous of her success. She said I was so desperate for attention that I got pregnant just to compete with her. People were staring, so I just walked away. I was shaking with anger and hurt. As I was leaving, I heard Emma's fiancé asking her if what she said about me getting pregnant for attention was true. I didn't stick around to hear her response. When I got home, I had missed calls from my parents. They left angry voicemails saying Emma told them about our encounter. They accused me of harassing Emma and threatened to cut me off completely if I didn't apologize. They didn't even ask about how I or the baby were doing. I was so stressed that I started having contractions. Jake rushed me to the hospital. Thankfully, everything was okay with the baby, but the doctor warned me to avoid stress. She suggested I consider seeing a therapist to help manage the family situation. Jake called my parents to tell them what happened. Instead of being concerned, they accused me of faking it for attention. That was the last straw for me. I decided I'm done trying to have a relationship with them. I've blocked their numbers and removed them from my social media. I'm focusing on staying healthy for my baby and preparing for his arrival. Jake and I are taking parenting classes and setting up the nursery. We've chosen a name for our son, but we're keeping it a secret until he's born. My grandmother even offered to host a baby shower for me next month. It's nice to finally feel like I have family members who care about me. Jake's parents have also been wonderful. They call regularly to check on us and have already bought so many things for their future grandson. Jake's mom is planning to stay with us for a few weeks after the baby is born to help out. It's bittersweet to see what supportive in-laws look like, knowing I won't have that same support from my own parents. I've started seeing a therapist to help deal with the stress and emotions from the family situation. It's been helpful to have an objective person to talk to about everything. She's been working with me on setting boundaries and processing my feelings about my childhood and current situation with my family. As my due date gets closer, I find myself having mixed emotions. I'm excited to meet our son and start this new chapter of our lives. But there's also a sadness knowing that my parents and sister won't be a part of it. I wonder if they'll ever meet their grandson, or if this rift is permanent. Jake and I have discussed what we'll do if my parents or Emma try to reconnect after the baby is born. We've decided that we'll be cautiously open to it, but only if they're willing to acknowledge their past behavior and make real changes. Our priority is protecting our son from the kind of favoritism and emotional manipulation I experienced growing up. For now, I'm trying to stay positive and focus on the good things in my life. Jake and I are more united than ever. We're both excited and a little scared about becoming parents, but we're facing it together. I'm grateful for the supportive family members and friends who have stood by us through all of this. I know cutting off my parents and Emma will have long-term consequences. There will be family events and holidays that might be awkward or painful. Our son will probably ask questions about his grandparents and aunt as he grows up. But for now, I feel like I'm doing what's best for my mental health and for our growing family. As I sit here feeling my son kick, I'm reminded of why I'm doing all of this. I want him to grow up in a home filled with love and support, where he's valued for who he is, not just for his achievements. I want him to know that it's okay to stand up for himself and set boundaries with people who hurt him, even if they're family. I don't know what the future holds for my relationship with my parents and Emma. Part of me hopes that someday we can reconcile and have a healthy relationship. But another part of me is at peace with the possibility that this might be a permanent estrangement. Either way, I'm committed to breaking the cycle of favoritism and emotional neglect with my own child. For now, I'm taking it one day at a time, focusing on my health, my marriage, and preparing for our son's arrival. It's not the family situation I imagined having when I pictured becoming a mother, but I'm grateful for the loving support system we do have. Whatever happens, I know Jake and I will face it together, and our son will always know how loved and wanted he is.